He conquered the known world by the age of 30. From Greece to Egypt, from Persia to India, over 2 million square miles of territory, undefeated in every single battle he ever fought. Alexander the Great was not the biggest soldier in his army. He was not the strongest. He was not the most physically imposing. But he trained harder than anyone around him. He fought from the front line. He shared every hardship his soldiers endured. And he built a philosophy of physical and mental excellence that made him literally undefeatable. Today, we unlock Alexander the Great's training philosophy and show you exactly how to apply it to become undefeatable in your own training. Welcome back to Stoic Athlete, where ancient wisdom meets modern fitness. Alexander the Great was born in 356 BC in Macedonia. By age 16, he was commanding armies. By age 20, he was king. By age 30, he had built the largest empire the ancient world had ever seen. But here is what most people don't know about Alexander. Before he was a conqueror, he was a student. He was tutored personally by Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers in human history. He studied philosophy, medicine, science, and military strategy alongside his physical training. Alexander understood something most modern athletes never grasp. Physical strength without mental excellence is just muscle. The combination of both is what makes someone truly undefeatable. Today we break down 5 training principles from Alexander the Great that will transform how you train, how you think, and who you become. Alexander the Great had one rule that separated him from every other military commander of his era. He always fought from the front, not from the back where it was safe, not from a command tent, directing others, from the very front line of every battle, sword in hand, leading his soldiers directly into combat. He was wounded multiple times. At the Battle of Granicus, an axe nearly split his skull. At the Siege of Multan, he was shot through the lung with an arrow. He fought on. His soldiers would follow him anywhere, through deserts, across mountain ranges, into battles they had no right to win, because they knew their leader was beside them, sharing every hardship. For the Stoic athlete, leading from the front means one thing. You go first. You are the first one in the gym, the last one to leave. You attempt the heaviest lift. You push through the hardest set. You never ask your body to do something you are not willing to demand of yourself first. This is not about ego. This is about integrity. The athlete who leads from the front in training builds a relationship of trust with their own body. You prove to yourself through action, not words, that you are capable of more than you think. Alexander's soldiers trusted him because he proved himself beside them every single day. Prove yourself to yourself every single training session. Lead from the front. Alexander studied under Aristotle for 3 years before he ever led an army. He learned philosophy, logic, rhetoric, medicine, and science. He carried a copy of Homer's Iliad, annotated by Aristotle, with him on every military campaign. He slept with it under his pillow, beside his sword. He believed that a warrior without philosophy was just a weapon, and a weapon without a wielder has no direction. Aristotle taught Alexander one principle above all others. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. You are what you repeatedly do, not what you do occasionally, when inspired. What you do every single day, without thinking. For the modern Stoic athlete, this principle is transformative. Stop treating your training as something you do. Start treating it as something you are. You are not someone who goes to the gym. You are an athlete. You are not someone who sometimes eats well. You are someone who fuels their body with intention. This identity shift from doing to being is the Aristotle Principle applied to modern training, and it changes everything. When training is what you do, you miss sessions when life gets hard. When training is who you are, missing a session becomes a violation of your identity. Something that simply does not happen. Study your training the way Alexander studied philosophy. Read about strength. Learn about nutrition. Understand recovery science. The more you know about why you train, the more committed you become to how you train. Alexander's army crossed the Hindu Kush mountains, elevations over 15,000 feet. In the middle of winter, they marched through the Gedrosian Desert, one of the most brutal environments on Earth, losing a third of their army to heat and dehydration. They fought battles immediately after exhausting marches. They built siege equipment after days without food. They crossed rivers, climbed mountains, and fought enemies in terrain that should have been impossible. What made this possible was not just physical fitness. It was the cultivation of endurance as a philosophy. Alexander personally led every march. He personally climbed every mountain. He personally crossed every desert. And when water was scarce, there is a famous story of a soldier bringing Alexander a helmet full of water. During a desert march, Alexander took the helmet, looked at his thirsty soldiers watching him, and poured it into the sand. If his soldiers could not drink, he would not drink. For the Stoic athlete, Alexander's endurance principle means building your training around what is hard, not what is efficient. Modern fitness culture is obsessed with optimization. The most efficient workout, the minimum effective dose, the fastest results with the least effort. Alexander would consider this weakness. Build endurance training into your program. Long runs, extended sessions, challenges that test not just your muscles, but your will to continue when everything in you wants to stop, because life's hardest moments are not efficient. They are long. They are exhausting. And the athlete who has trained their endurance physically and mentally is the one who survives them. Alexander the Great inherited and perfected the Macedonian Phalanx, one of the most effective military systems ever created. The phalanx worked on a simple principle. Every soldier held a sarissa, a spear up to 21 feet long, arranged in tight formation The phalanx presented an impenetrable wall of spear points to the enemy. No individual heroics. No lone warriors breaking formation to seek glory. Just a perfectly disciplined system. Every soldier in their exact position, executing their exact role. The phalanx was nearly undefeatable. When every soldier trusted the system and stayed in formation, it collapsed. Only when individuals broke discipline and stepped out of position. For the Stoic athlete, the phalanx principle is about trusting your training system over individual heroics. Your training program is your phalanx. Every exercise, every set, every rep, every rest day has a position in the formation. When you trust the system and execute every element with discipline, the results are inevitable. The training system fails when you break formation, when you skip rest days because you feel good, when you add random exercises that don't serve the program, when you chase other people's programs instead of executing your own. Trust your system. Stay in formation. Execute every element with the same discipline. Alexander demanded of his phalanx. Results are not the product of heroic individual sessions. They are the product of a perfect system, executed with relentless consistency. There is a story about Alexander the Great that has haunted historians for centuries. When Alexander reached the edge of the known world, when his army finally refused to march further east, Alexander wept, not from sadness, but because there were no more worlds to conquer. He had pushed so far beyond what anyone thought was possible that he ran out of challenges. For most people, this story sounds like arrogance. But for the Stoic athlete, it contains the most important training principle of all. Never stop pushing your limits the moment you decide you have reached your ceiling. You have. The moment you accept that you cannot go further, you cannot. The moment you stop seeking the next challenge, you begin to decline. Alexander wept because he understood that growth requires challenge, that excellence requires a worthy opponent. And when no external opponent remained, the only opponent left was himself. This is the ultimate Stoic athlete principle. When you have conquered every challenge your program presents, you do not celebrate and stop. You find the next mountain, the next desert, the next battle that seems impossible. Set a goal that scares you. Train toward it with everything you have. When you reach it, set a bigger one. Leave nothing unconquered. Not in your training, not in your mind, not in your life. Alexander the Great conquered the known world by age 30. He did it not through luck or birthright, but through 5 training principles that are as powerful today as they were 2,000 years ago. 1. From the front, go first. Prove yourself to yourself through action every single session. 2. Train the mind as hard as the body. Become a student of your training. Let knowledge deepen your commitment. 3. Build endurance above all. Train what is hard, not what is efficient. Prepare your body and mind for life's longest battles. 4. Trust your system. Stay in formation. Execute your program with phalanx discipline. every element, every session without deviation. 5. Leave nothing unconquered. Never accept a ceiling. When you reach one goal, find the next mountain immediately. Alexander wept because he ran out of worlds to conquer. You will never run out. Because the greatest territory you will ever conquer is yourself, your body, your mind, your discipline, your limits, your potential. These are infinite frontiers, and every training session is one step further into territory you have never explored. Go explore it. This is Stoic Athlete. Train your body. Master your mind. Conquer yourself. Stooster for a new video every week. The ancient warriors are waiting.